Hello and welcome to America Latina Story. Today we are going to talk about one of the most formidable feats in the study of Latin America's past that occurred at the very beginning of the 20th century, the exploration of the renowned and mysterious sacred well of Chichén Itzá. The northwestern Yucatan Peninsula is a limestone plateau covered with shrubs that has no rivers, streams, lakes or ponds. The region is pockmarked with natural sinkholes called in Spanish cenotes, which, in the manner of tubes, operate a connection between the water table and the plateau's surface, providing water to the local population. One of the most impressive of these is the Cenote Sagrado, or Sacred Well, situated 300 yards from the famous Chichén Itzá pyramid. It is 200 feet in diameter and surrounded by sheer cliffs that drop to the water table some 89 feet below. The first mention of the Cenote Sagrado appears in 1566 in the book Relación de las Cosas de Yucatán by Archbishop of Yucatan, Diego de Landa, whom we had the opportunity to discuss in the program Deciphering the Mayan Script. If Bishop de Landa mentions the cenote of Chichén Itzá, it is not to tell us about irrigation techniques or water distribution among the Mayans, but for something completely different. To quote from his book, "Into this well they have had and then had the custom of throwing men alive as a sacrifice to the gods in times of drought, and they believed that they did not die, though they never saw them again. They also threw into it a great many other things, like precious stones and things which they prized. And so, if this country had possessed gold, it would be this well that would have the great part of it, so great is the devotion that the Indians show for it." And to explain, the natives for ages have believed that somewhere in these unknown depths, the powerful god of the waters had his home, and that his anger caused the droughts, the pestilences, and the plagues of insects that from time to time descended upon the land. It was this belief that caused them to send messengers with supplications and rich gifts to propitiate the god. It can safely be inferred that these messengers were neither old women nor ill-favored. To impress the existence of this practice in the minds of his readers, Bishop de Landa reported having personally witnessed live sacrifices being thrown into the cenote. Little did Bishop de Landa know that his writings would, 3 centuries and a half later, fire the imagination of a young American named Edward Herbert Thompson, and that this young man would dedicate his life, wealth and energy to prove that all the essential details of the tradition associated to the sacred well, as he had described, were true. In 1894, Thompson managed to purchase the plantation that included the site of Chichén Itzá. He spent the next 30 years exploring the site. His greatest achievement and one of the most remarkable exploits in archaeological annals being the exploration of the sacred well at a time when diving was a hazardous occupation even for professionals. Thompson began exploring the well in 1904 by dredging its bottom from its rim with an orange peel bucket dredge adapted on a 30-foot swinging boom fixed on a derrick. A long period of frustration ensued as, weeks after weeks, only mud and plant debris came to the surface. Thompson began to despair until one day, 2 nodules of ritual incense were brought up. They were the first of many finds to follow. Earth and copper vessels, temple vases, obsidian, gold and jade objects, arrowheads, axes and hammerstones of flint and calcite, and, on a more somber note, the first of many more, skeletons of young women. However, according to a report written in 1579 by the alcalde of Valladolid, Don Diego Sarmiento de Figueroa, all young women thrown in the pit did not die. Those who did not drown and were able to call for help were pulled up so that they could tell of their encounters in the dark world below. But this was not enough for Thompson, who felt that the sacred well contained more hidden secrets. Thompson had purposefully taken lessons in deep-sea diving and, in 1909, with the help of 2 Greek sponge divers from the Bahamas, he set out to explore firsthand the bottom of the well. The 3 men had to work under extremely difficult conditions, in utter darkness, and in a medium which was a thick mixture like gruel, the last 30 feet of which was a mud deposit sufficiently consistent to sustain trees. They also had to look out for huge loosened stone blocks that rained around them from time to time. All that Thompson brought to the surface was of little commercial value, but of immense importance for Mayan and archaeological studies. He turned most of it over to the Peabody Museum in Cambridge. This did greatly upset the Mexican government, who hurried to pass Antiquity's laws prohibiting large-scale export of pre-Columbian artifacts. In 1960, the Peabody Museum voluntarily gave part of the Thompson collection to the Mexican National Institute of Anthropology and History. This sparked a new wave of interest in the sacred well. Mexican divers and archaeologists re-entered the waters of the well with modern diving equipment and were able to harvest a new yield as great as that of Thompson. Thank you for watching this program. Do not hesitate to subscribe to the channel. This is all for now. Goodbye.